all together. So notice it combines holy books like Bible and Quran. It combines literature like Shakespeare and the Homeric epics. All of that together.
You said a Roman too?
Yeah. The Rig Veda. Oh, am I missing something on my slide? Maybe it has to pop in. Okay, I was like, where is it? The Rig Veda, all of the Vedas, there are actually 3 big Vedas. It's the oldest one, and what's important about that one is this contains the entire mythology of the Hindu gods. We're not going to read the Rig Veda, it is really long, but if you want to know all about which gods in Hinduism can have what powers and stories about them, it's in the Rig Veda. The Aryans wrote this down, remember previous? When they entered the Indus Valley toward the end of the Harappan civilization, they wrote this. And it's during the period of when they're also migrating in. There might be some Harappan influence in there, but one of the big things that are in the Vedas is it actually creates for us the caste system. Okay, this guy that's over to the right, his name is Purusha. And I'll pop up this next one so you guys have it. Purusha's mouth, and you'll notice that his head faces this direction, and faces this direction, and faces this direction, and then if we can see the back of it, it faces. So he has a face that's facing all of the 4 directions. And he is known as the universe-invading spirit. And this is kind of a small statue of him, but the story is that he was a giant. And when the gods sacrificed his body, when they cut his body apart, it created the world and it created the caste systems. So his mouth became the Brahmins, because the Brahmins are the people that can speak to God. And so where his mouth went, then that became the Brahmins. This is actually the whole importance of Purusha and the story in the Rig Veda is this is where our modern day class system in India, where they still have the caste system, comes from the Rig Veda and comes from the story of Purusha. So the arms, cut off the arms, and because that becomes the Kshatriyas, which is also known as the warrior class, because of course your arms do the action. Brahma, they talk. They also get the most money and the most respect. Warrior class does their action. And of course they support the Brahmins. The legs, thighs actually, because everyone knows, that's where you get money, is from your thighs, who knows. But they become, I better pop up the Indian word. They become the Vaishyas. And they are the money earning class, basically, merchants and artisans who need to support. I want you to kind of notice this is built on a pyramid. They have to support the warrior class and they have to support the Brahmin class. The feet, because it gets you around and it's the base of everything. The feet are the laborers or the farmers or the Shudras. This is going to be your largest class in any society. You need more laborers and farmers than you need Brahmins. You do not need as many people to speak to God as you need people who grow wheat and make bread. Or dig latrines to get your waste away. Or build a water system. Who's this guy again?
Purusha.
Purusha. Notice his little parts? Okay, here's a neater. At the top you have the Brahmins, and this is just pyramid system, so you can see how it goes. And then Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. Within each of those, you've got your jobs that go in there. And those with no caste are called untouchables. They are not even in the pyramid. And there are still untouchables in India. The people who take care of dead bodies, they're untouchable. The people that take garbage are untouchable. The people that have to do with any kind of human waste or blood are untouchable.
Like doctors?
No, not doctors. Like you're getting rid of the biological waste. Like sewer people are untouchable. dyers of, or not dyers, tanners of leather, untouchable, because you know, you have to use unclean items in order to tan and make leather. Like you can use urine and brains to make leather. If you're an untouchable, you can relate with other untouchables. You're going to end up with very little money, very little hope.
So like, are they not able to be ruled upon by the government if they're untouchable?
Oh yeah, the government rules everyone.
So when they say untouchable, then like other people can't touch them at
Literally, you
all?
cannot touch that person.
If you're an untouchable, you can touch an untouchable. But if you're any of those other people, you do not want to be touched by an untouchable.
So they're like the nice people.
Yes, but they're perfectly ordinary people, is what I want you to know. They just get born into this caste and they get labeled as untouchable, and because they believe it, they stay it.
So untouchables can't fulfill dharma and like move up the social hierarchy?
It's super hard in Hinduism, but I'll tell you why that was the appeal of Buddhism to them. Because in Buddhism, you can achieve nirvana in one lifetime. You don't have to be reborn and reborn and reborn. In Hinduism, the caste system keeps you stuck. You fulfill your dharma, your job in life, and most of you are going to end up at the same spot the next time, and the same spot the next time, and the same spot the next time. The untouchables are just happy they're not stink bugs. Because, you know, if they had been horrible in a life, then they'd be a stink bug right now, or they'd be a maggot.
Those still exist today.
It is sad. And that's one of the big social problems in India, is to get people to accept that the caste is not, you know, like the Knight's Tale, your stars, you can change your stars. They think the caste system, that the caste you're born into, it's basically which one you're born into by birth, and then fulfilling that while you're alive, and you pretty much get stuck in the same spot, you know, it's like a treadmill. There's one more term, a jati, and that is the jobs that are within each of the castes. They call these varnas as well. I call it the social hierarchy or the caste system. But jati is the divisions of the jobs within that caste. And that sets a really important precedent that the caste system comes from the Vedas, brings India to its present day. And we're going to talk about two dynasties. We're going to talk about the Mauryan dynasty, which is the one that's right now. Then we're going to go back to Rome. And then we're going to come, because the Mauryans are at 321 BCE. They're at the same time when the rise of Rome is happening. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Mauryans first. Then we're going to go back to Rome and talk about the fall of Rome. Then we're going to get to the Guptas, because that happens concurrent with the fall of Rome. So, much like Greece, India before the Mauryan dynasty is a bunch of city-states. Just like you can imagine Sparta and Athens and Corinth and Thebes and all of those. And what happens is, remember when the Persian emperor comes in, it's actually Darius at this time, and you don't care about this. He conquered northwest India, and he introduced a Persian ruling pattern. And a Persian ruling pattern is what Alexander mimicked. It's when you have a strong ruler that rules a large territory, and they divide it into districts that you can get taxes from and that you can get soldiers from, and you make it very organized. A city-state means, you know, Lauren's the boss of her little city-state over there, you guys are subject to her, but over there it's Jessica, she's the boss of her city-state. These city-states do not cooperate. The Persian system, Abe comes in, Abe's the ruler, he sets Lauren up to rule this district under his command. He sets Jessica up to rule this district under his command. Alexander loved that. It leads to stability. And do we still do it like this today?
Like governors and stuff like that?
Yeah, like governors and mayors and city councils and all that kind of stuff. That's the Persian system, and the Romans loved that too. Because remember, Alexander, before it's Rome, spreads Hellenism and that whole idea of the Persian rule. Okay, so in 327, and I talked about this with the little elephant on this side and the elephant, no elephants on this side, he destroyed the Persian Empire in India, but also left because his soldiers, were tired. And I'd be tired after 17,000 miles in 8 years too. When he left, what do you think happens?
Chaos.
Things go back. they weren't.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it a power vacuum. It's stable when he's there, as soon as he leaves, it's a power vacuum, and someone's like, ooh, opportunity. The most significant remaining kingdom after Alexander's departure was in the central Ganges plain, and they had a couple strengths: agriculture, and they had trade, because they had the Bay of Bengal, where they had silk from India coming in, spices, all kinds of stuff. And they took the opportunity to become, let's see what this one is. Mauryan is this lavender color. And they had the most power at the time in this region, and so they became the Mauryan Empire. Notice it's not near to the extent of an Alexander Empire or a Roman Empire. And the trade routes are the little purple. Okay, so Chandragupta Maurya is the founder of this Mauryan Empire. And he starts it in 321 BCE. So Alexander, 327, defeats them, leaves. 321, Chandragupta. Okay, I can't say his name right now. Chandragupta decides